Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for December 19th, 2024. This is a time machine episode. The sentient AI is not available, but I am, and we've already got all 10 of the articles all set up, so let's go through them. Here's the 10. Lawns have teeth now. Climate change. The Pareto principle of steam. If you read a little bit more, it's not really a Pareto principle, but we're getting close. SpaceX lost power during its spacewalk. Google Maps murder mystery. The moon is old. Drones banned over areas of New Jersey. NHTSA says it's full of hot air. Spicy electrical tape. Boeing is back to making sieves. No, wait, planes. They're making planes. Elden Ring Nightreign has a goofy rule. I ate something blue right before the show. Yeah, welcome to Non Sequitur News. Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt. Sentient AI isn't available, but that's ohmtown.com. I run that and use it to manage my information overload. So go over there and check it all out. Let me refresh my chat here. Okay, it is. Everything's working. Hey, the show notes aren't going to be over on Twitch today, but they're already in the description for today's stream, so you can follow the links over there. And Omatron isn't loaded up to spit out the links, so maybe I'll throw them in the description afterward. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into today's articles. This is a time machine episode, so I'm gonna rip through these pretty fast. So the first article is over on the Marble channel. A homeowner found huge fossil teeth while mowing the lawn. Then excavations revealed a complete mastodon jaw. The article is over at Smithsonian Magazine or smithsonianmag.com by Margarita Bassi. The text statement says the new discovery is the first of its kind in New York State for at least 11 years and appeared in a county rich with mastodon remains. So maybe upstate New York had a lot of mastodons. The homeowner, who, according to the Associated Press, which is where this is actually sourced from, I suppose, but we give credit where we get it from, is in Orange County, New York, spotted a strange object poking through the plants. At first, the resident thought that they were baseballs, but apparently they are teeth. They wished to remain anonymous, alerted the appropriate experts, leading researchers from the State Museum and SUNY, S-U-N-Y, Orange, to descend upon the backyard and begin an excavation. As they unearthed the remains, they revealed a complete mastodon jaw. Mastodons were large, tusked, elephant-like mammals, distantly related to the woolly mammoth and modern elephants, slightly smaller than mammoths. They existed around the world from the early Miocene, or 2.6 million years ago, to 23 million years ago, and we used to ride them across the plains. My facts might be wrong about that. Like mammoths, mastodons disappeared toward the end of the last ice age, when a series of factors, including climate change and human hunting, drove many large animals to extinction, as Jess Thompson wrote for Newsweek. So this is actually written about in Newsweek as well as the Associated Press and now SmithsonianMag.com, which I thought would have been doing the investigative journalism here. So the magnitude of the find surprised even the museum experts. Quote, initially, I just thought that we would kind of poke around and grab another tooth and pull it out of the ground, and that would be it, Faranek says to ABC Eyewitness News, another source. But as we poked around that other tooth, it wasn't moving, and we kind of poked around a little more and realized it was stuck in something, and it turned out to be an entire jaw. The homeowner says that they're thrilled that the property has yielded such an important find for the scientific community. Now get out. Just kidding. They didn't say anything about getting out. It says, however, even though Orange County, New York, there's a Orange County, California too. I'm sure there's Orange counties all over the place in the United States. I don't know. Anyway, has a lot of mastodons relative to the rest of the state and really the rest of the country. That still doesn't mean you find it every day. Well, I'm glad you made that statement. All right, let's keep going. Next article is over in the WarCrafters channel. You may have noticed some changes. We changed the logo. This color scheme here is not going to stay. It's for most people, it's already turned just a plain black ohmTown name. But the color scheme has changed. We're brightening it up a little bit, adding a little bit more personality to an otherwise news aggregation related site. So anyway, only 15% of all Steam users' time was spent playing games released in 2024. You know, I didn't do the intro. I normally do a little splash screen right before the show starts. Anyway, doesn't matter. So on a personal level, it turns out that they've played, the author of this article, played about 50% fewer games on Steam than last year. They blame Game Pass emulation and their overpriced but utterly captivating Nintendo 3DS XL, while turn-based stealth and detective games made up a big part of their 2024 jam. The author is Robert Zach over at PCGamer.com. The deck statement says, Steam's end-of-year review of what we play and how we play makes for some interesting reading. So they say the really interesting stuff is on the macro scale, as it shows that Steam users spent just 15% of their total time playing in games that launched in 2024. 47% of total playing time on Steam was spent playing games released in the last 1 to 7 years, while a sizable 37% of the time was spent in games that have been out for 8 years or more. So, and they're still raking in dough, I suppose. So what do you make of all of it? People are just not buying new games anymore. No, that's probably not the case. In fact, 15% is a significant increase over the 9% time in 2023 that people spent, though it's down from 2022 when they had 17%. It's okay, we'll bounce back. I guess we'll find out, right? I mean, when people are trying to make ends meet, they don't have as much time, free time, to sit there and play games. So I guess we'll see what the future holds. So they talk about Helldivers 2 Delta Force and the free-to-play super sensation that is Banana. It's a dumb game. Anyway, on the single-player front, Simian Action Adventure Black Myth Wukong has led the charge with some eye-watering concurrent player numbers on Steam charts. How it didn't get Game of the Year, I'm not quite sure, but that's okay. The after effect of it, I'm like, oh, well, I have no problem with it going to somebody else. The current state of live service games may play its part in why the time spent in new games numbers aren't higher. Service games make up the vast majority of Steam's most played charts, with long-established titles like Counter-Strike, Dota 2, PUBG, ruling the roost for years. Let's keep moving. This one will be quick. There isn't really much to say about this. SpaceX ground control lost power for an hour. Lost power for an hour during the Spacewalk. Conducting a crewed mission in space isn't like going out on a cross-country road trip. You can get by with just fine without a cell service on an isolated stretch of the highway, but an aircraft losing communication is typically a precursor for a disaster. I don't know about that. Not really precursor. SpaceX lost power for at least an hour at a California facility during the spacewalk. Ryan Eric King over at jalopnik.com put the article together. Polaris Dawn's Polaris spacecraft had a connection via Starlink that couldn't be commanded from the ground. Conducting a crewed space mission isn't like going on a cross-country road trip. Why is that so hard to say? So, Polaris Dawn itself wasn't a straightforward effort, as the Dragon spacecraft doesn't have an airlock. When mission commander Jared Isaacman and SpaceX engineer Sarah Gillis stepped through the hatch, the two remaining astronauts also had to put on a spacesuit. The spacewalk went smoothly, but the riskiest aspect of shutting the hatch and repressurizing the crew compartment. So the mission is still slated to be the first of a 3-part Polaris program, culminating in the debut crewed mission for a SpaceX Starship. Isaacman, a digital payment processor billionaire and founder of a private air force, is personally organizing Polaris and contracting the effort to SpaceX. However, the program will likely need a new commander. Isaacman is president-elect nominee for NASA administrator, and stated will likely stop going to space in his new role. Oh boy. Interesting times is a Chinese proverb that's actually a curse. It's not a blessing. So when they say, may you live in interesting times, these are some interesting times. Google Maps may have helped solve a murder case. This is the next article. Everyone has a grand old time trying to find themselves on Google Maps. I've never bothered. What's the point? After they've spotted the easily identifiable Street View car roaming their neighborhood, one guy in Spain was probably less enthused when the Google Street View passed by and caught him removing what sure looks like a body from his trunk. 33-year-old Cuban man was visiting a romantic partner in Tehueco, a small town in northeastern Spain, and his family would later report him missing after he sent them some suspicious messages saying he was getting rid of his phone. So I saw this earlier. I didn't actually know that it was going to be this when I selected this article, but the suspects were destined to be caught because Street View just happened to pick him up. Spanish police started investigating and eventually found an image from Google Street View showing a man loading a big white human-shaped package into the trunk of the car. Police say this was not a central piece of evidence. Author says, I don't know. Kind of seems like anytime someone is caught stuffing a cartoonish white sack shaped like a human into a trunk, you can't claim that it didn't give your investigation a big leg up. Louis Prada over at Vice.com put this article together. Says if you're reading all of this and marveling at how incredible the odds must have been for this person to have been caught, this final fact will blow your mind. It had been 15 years since the Google Street View car's last trip to Tehueco. The one time it's there in nearly 2 decades. It travels down the street at the exact moment a crime is being committed. Yep, the simulation said you got to be caught. So the next article is over in the Mobile channel. The moon could be 100 million years older than we thought. The new study published in the journal Nature has challenged scientists' belief that the moon is 100 million years younger. Based on the age of the lunar rock samples from Apollo missions, experts have previously estimated that the moon is around 4.35 billion years old, but now it doesn't look a year older than 4.45 billion years old. However, the moon forming that many billions of years ago, a new study suggests that the lunar surface actually remelted during that time frame. Interesting. I've always found it really interesting that all of the craters are only a certain depth. Like all of them. And I'm not sure why that is, but maybe it's just my imagination. Just my imagination. So according to Space.com, the remelting that occurred some 4.35 billion years ago was likely caused by Earth's gravitational pull and tidal effects on the moon. These were much stronger than they are today, as the moon is further from the Earth than it was when it first formed. It says we're not really upending conventional wisdom so much as reconciling dueling hypotheses. Nimmo explained to Space.com the dynamicists want an old moon and the geochemists want a young moon. Our suggestion can satisfy both. Aw, the peacemakers. Sammy Caramella over at Vice.com put this article together. But let's move on. The next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel, which is all about business transformation. FAA says drone flights are temporarily banned over some areas of New Jersey. 22 areas across New Jersey, and complaints from a strange and often bright drones in the night sky. So they banned flights. Drone flights. Christian Burt over at CNBC.com put this article together. The added TFRs will last until January 19th and cover large parts of southern New York and Long Island, including all 5 boroughs of New York City. Residents in New Jersey, which also have drone bans for the next month, have reported seeing unexplained drones flying in the sky for weeks, which prompted criticism from local law enforcement and officials. Wow, I'm surprised that the law enforcement are doing anything other than union busting Amazon workers in New York. You know, remember, folks, y'all have a union too. Why don't you all respect your unions? Respect each other's unions. Next article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. NHTSA says, never mind about that massive airbag recall after a lengthy fight with the automakers. So the article is by Andy Kalmowitz over at jalopnik.com. The deck statement says, plus a German union says contract talks with VW are heading in the right direction, and Ford anoints a new quality leader to cut back on warranty costs. Well, I suspect deny. So NHTSA has backed down from its forced recall that would hit 50 million airbag inflators they say could explode in a crash. The move de-escalates a fight that's been dragging on between NHTSA and impacted automakers that are looking to avoid further Takata situation. In a new filing, the U.S. safety regulation body said that further investigation is warranted before it can definitively say whether or not the parts are defective. It's a necessary stop before an involuntary recall. So really don't need to get into what's going on here, but in May of 2023, GM recalled 1 million vehicles manufactured from 2014 to 2017 that were equipped with ARC inflators. ARC Automotive Incorporated and the former Delphi Automotive Systems LLC. The airbags involved have been used by at least a dozen car manufacturers. That same month, May of 2023, regulators recommended that ARC issue a widespread recall of these inflators. The closely held company has refused to do so. There are approximately 49 million cars that have potentially faulty ARC airbag inflators installed in them. Nobody wants to do a recall, but if this is broken and dangerous, the author and I feel it's better to get it out of the way. Go and get it replaced, man. Y'all screwed up, manufacturing or what otherwise. You wait too long, then there's some, liability issues. I'd rather not people lose their life or be harmed. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. Honda sells spicy electrical tape to stop residents eating your wiring or encouraging people who like spicy foods to eat your wiring. Clever designers around the world have come up with all kinds of ingenious creations over the years. Mazda's famed rotary engine is admired by many, and the energy recovery systems in Formula One engines have made them some of the most efficient in the world. And now Honda has a special rodent-resistant tape that's packed with spice. Owen Bellwood over at jalopnik.com put the article together. The adhesive in the tape is treated with capsaicin, which is one of the active components in chilies that give them their spicy kick. It's probably I guess they're technically right. I don't know, maybe there's others. I only know of capsaicin though. Honda's made a phenomenal things over the years, like humanoid robot Osimo, a slick Honda Jet private aircraft. However, a part of you can order for around $50 might be one of the simplest but most elegant creations out there. Honda rodent tape, and it's been designed to try and stop animals like rats and mice from chewing through all of the electrical wires in your car. And to do this, the adhesive on the tape has been treated with capsaicin, which is one of the active components that give chilies their spice. So it's packed with the same spice kick that you'll find in a bowl of 5-alarm chili, according to Honda. We don't have pictures of this other than that one at the top. It's basically a gray roll of duct tape. Looks like duct tape, but it's electrical tape, so it's smooth and doesn't have the striations and stuff, but electrical tape. But it has a mouse or rat symbol on it with an X for eyes, for one eye. So I guess it stops. That's supposed to mean that it stops mice and rats. The spice level in the tape will probably seem much more intense to smaller animals like rats and mice, while the density of taste buds on our tongues, humans, is relatively similar to mice and rats. Rodents have a much higher sensitivity to some flavors to help them better avoid potentially toxic snacks in their environment. So maybe they'll like them. Who knows? Let's keep going. Boeing is back to making sieves. Pardon me. They're back to making, what do they make? Planes. Oh, that's right. Things that are supposed to fly. So Boeing's slow manufacturing restart in the wake of the nearly 2-month-long machinist strike is continuing to pick up steam. The company just announced that it has restarted production of 2 more models at the Washington State factories, in addition to the cash cow 737 MAX planes. Let's hope that the doors stay on it, the panels. Melvin Backman over at Quartz or QZ.com put the article together. The deck statement says commercial airliner head Stephanie Pope says Boeing is once again building 767s and 777s. Is there really anything else to write or talk about regarding this? Well, the machinists walked off the job in September when they couldn't come to an agreement with Boeing over their union contract. And while they and their representatives at the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers worked out a new agreement, production lines fell largely silent. Eventually, they ratified a new contract with a 38% wage increase and agreed to come back to work. According to Boeing, the 777 and 767 models make up 567 of its 5,500 plane back order. It is a back order. They aren't as popular as the 737 MAX, but their dual-aisle wide-body configuration makes them more desirable for airlines that need jets that can carry lots of passengers for long distances. Now, let's just keep the panels in place. I hope that guy is back from his lunch, because when he took his break, apparently the pins fell out. In our last article for the Time Machine episode, this one is kind of wonky. It says it's over on the WarCrafters channel. That's where it's aggregated from, and it's sourced from PC Gamer. The game director of Elden Ring Nightreign has delivered an ultimatum to gaming couples everywhere: find a third wheel or play by yourself. And this has led me to exclaim that this is the lamest rule that I've ever seen in a game. A multiplayer game, mind you. So learning about the new Elden Ring spinoff was their highlight, the author's highlight over at PC Gamer. Over the last few years, their partner and themselves have spent a great deal of time playing Elden Ring and its Shadow of the Erdtree DLC alongside each other, occasionally teaming up to explore the lands between or fight a particularly tricky boss. Still, summoning other players is still quite fiddly. Elden Ring Nightreign seems like the perfect solution. But no, I think it sucks, because you're going to have to summon a third, because a couple doesn't work. Ellie Gould over at PCGamer.com put the article together, but it says, the deck statement says, only singles and polycules allowed. Yeah, so this new game is going to require you to find a third person because you can't play it just 2-player. It's 1 player or 3 players. And I think that is the dumbest thing on the planet. You should have it all the way, however many you want to numerically limit it. 3 is fine, but allow a couple to play the game. I mean, it's so stupid. During an interview with IGN game director Junya Ishizaki explained why From Software decided to opt for such awkward number. The game is designed to be played as a as a 3-person team, but you can also play it as a solo player. And the reason that they went with a 3-player focus was that they wanted to retain the sense of accomplishment you get from this is the same EA bullshit. The sense of enjoyment and conquering a map together. So why can't I have 2? Pardon me. Production value at an all-time high. I muted the wrong damn thing. Anyway, I think this is just dumb. Honestly, we felt like focusing on a 3-player co-op experience would provide a brand new sense of accomplishment with it because they wanted to do it in a different way. Don't do it different. Do it right. This is not right. This is dumb. Not that I'm ever going to play anything from Software. I don't like corpse walking, dying and going and picking up my body and dying and going and picking up my body. As frustrating it is to have to find a third wheel for our upcoming adventure through Elden Ring Nightreign, they can't help but find this decision not only typical of From Software's quirky approach to its games, but also really funny. Of course, the devs wouldn't just settle for a classic co-op adventure or round the number up to 4 players so everyone in your multi-party group can join in. No. They have to be difficult and make you find a third wheel, kick someone out of the usual 4-player group, or just go solo. Get good. Yeah. I think this is a dumb rule, and I hope that they Nightreign it in. Anyway, with that, we're going to reload from our spawn point, and that'll bring us back to the front page of ohmtown.com, where you can go and become a citizen. In the meantime, I'm going to bounce out of here and get ready for tonight's show on 12/20, probably around 7 o'clock, if mayoral duties allow me. At any rate, I'm out of here. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.